Well, I think we will have a snap election, and I think that people will be called to have a decision, and I think that's democracy working. We've had the same government for about 6 years now, and I think at a point in time it's normal that you have these reflections, but I think that otherwise there's been a very continuing stability about policy, about the commitment of the country to maintain responsible finances, ensure that we have a very welcoming destination for foreign direct investment, for visitors and residents that will choose Portugal as a location to invest and live, and that I think will continue going forward.
Portugal's politics seem to converge with other problems in Europe. I remember flying here 6 years ago, a so-called political showdown, which was then averted at the time, but it did coincide with political crisis right across Europe with populists in charge. And now we've got a little bit more election risk and a rule of law challenge happening in Europe, and we're now concerned about your situation here. How worried are you that it will hamper your ability to manage the COVID recovery, particularly with concerns that far-right or far-left parties could further fragment the system if you go back to the polls?
Well, I think, to be honest, I think we have a very stable democracy. And whilst we have representations of left-wing, right-wing parties in Parliament, we've always been able to generate government solutions where we have sort of maintained a course of, as I was explaining, fiscal responsibility and growth possibilities in recent years, with much more concern about how we fight inequality and combat climate change. Those were the two tenets, I would say, of the past 6 years, and let's see how we continue. I'm very confident that whatever the outcome of the election is, we will continue to see Portugal as a country which is welcoming for foreign investment, and that will continue to deserve the trust of our partners elsewhere in the world.
I think it's fair to say economic recovery or progress at this point has gone hand in hand with vaccination rates, in a sense, and Portugal has been a real standout globally, the 86% vaccination rate. What was the secret, and what's the messaging here for other countries where there's been vaccine hesitancy?
Well, I think of course, we had the benefit of the common purchase of vaccines that the European Union decided, and I thought that was a very important topic to show that the European Union is really at the service of the populations across the continent. But the other thing is that we have had a very effective vaccination deployment mechanism, but also the population adhered very spontaneously to the vaccine. We have a tradition of vaccines saving lives in the country, and we all get our shots before we join the primary school. And I think that it went very smoothly, and nobody questioned the trust not only in the health system but also in the vaccines. So we now are the country which has the highest vaccination rate in the world, complete vaccination 86%. We cannot go very much farther than this, because otherwise we would have to vaccinate the children under 12, which for the moment we are not doing. We are already deploying a third shot for the over 65s and those with morbidities, and I hope that because of that, we will be able to withstand better than others the winter season that we are now starting. So
I want to ask you about that, because you had a modest recovery with tourists over summer. This is clearly a test with business travellers. We'll also do a little bit of tourism, no doubt, on the side. What planning is in place just in case we go into a winter where some of the vaccines don't necessarily work for all of the population and you do get a higher caseload?
Well, I mean, we have the benefits of experiencing all kinds of situations. We have had very high levels of COVID and of serious illness when we didn't have the vaccination. We tested the ability of the health system to support all this. We did so, I would say, in a manner which is remarkable. But now that we have the population protected, I think we will see a decoupling between the numbers of contagions and the incidence of serious disease. I think we will be prepared, and I hope that is the case.